Hello, welcome to one of our Canva workshops. We're going to be talking about video today. We'll just give everyone a minute or so to let people log in and get their audio settled, and we'll get started soon. Thank you all for joining us. All right, to be mindful of everyone's time, we'll just go ahead and get started. Welcome again. This is Canva video that we're going to be talking about today. It's the third workshop in a 4-part series. We'll have another one next week on print marketing. And you can find recordings of all of our virtual classes on the Plano Public Library YouTube channel. So definitely subscribe to that if you haven't already. And you are muted, so please use the Q&A to ask your questions. And we have Courtney here with us who will let me know when those questions arise so we can answer them as we can. And then let's see what else. You can use the chat, you can use the Q&A, whichever one floats your boat. You can use either. They are both available. And again, this will be recorded and on the Plano Public Library's YouTube channel. So today we are talking about, I'm on my wrong slide here. Sorry, let me just get through this real quick. Video, that's the one we're talking about today. So we're going to talk about how you can create simple marketing videos using Canva. They have templates, stock video content, audio, different effects that you can use, all available within Canva. And one of the main things that I'm going to show you are the templates, which are really nice because, and I've talked about this in our other Canva classes, Canva makes templates that are best suited for each application, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, ads versus posts. They already have templates made in like the correct sizes that are best suited for that application. Because when you're putting all the effort into making videos for your business or whatever it is, you want it to look the best on that application. And when you're playing with the editor tools, they're going to look a bit different in video than they would for non-video graphics like a photo. They're just going to look a little bit different. They're going to have a few more settings to choose from. And then we'll talk about all the different stock options available. That makes me think we're talking about finance. Stock meaning video and audio content that is within Canva that you are able to use for your own videos and audio. And then how to upload the videos that you make. First, how to download them, and then how to upload them. So let's look at, let's go ahead and go to Canva. So I've mentioned this in every single class, just to reiterate, Canva likes to update with new widgets, new tools, so it may or may not look exactly like this when you are using it. It may just look a little bit different, and that is okay. You'll still be able to find the tools wherever you need them. So again, all of your recent designs are going to be on this main page, just right here. This is the library's account, so that's why there's a lot of different stuff here. But that's where if you're in the middle of working on something and have to come back to it, this is an easy place to find it. And to reiterate again, because I find it very important, is file management. So as you can see, I have a video right here. Sneak being the sneaker company that we've made up for this class. And it has a folder called Canva Class Sneak. So all of the content that I have in that folder or for this class, all in the same place. That way I can easily find it. So if you're working on projects, managing your files in folders is very helpful. And you can also find that by, if I'm back onto the home page, on the left toolbar, there is projects, and that is where all of your folders will be. So if you have multiple folders for a different project, maybe you have one just for Facebook, just for LinkedIn, just for TikTok, however you want to do it, it's all here. So I'm going to show you about video today, and I'll show you the one I made in a minute, but I want to go back to home real quick. And as I was talking about templates, I want to show you what some of those look like. So Canva has hundreds of thousands of templates available for many different applications. And since we're talking about video today, you can see right here, there is a little tab just for video. And it has a few different options that you can play with. One is just a generic landscape video, more like what you would see on YouTube, landscape videos. You have Facebook, which is a little bit more square, a little bit more portrait. And of course, you have your mobile videos like you would see on TikTok or Instagram Reels. They even have one that's called YouTube videos, but they're likely the same in terms of dimensions. And then they also have stuff for different ads that you can do. Again, Instagram Reels, TikTok videos. So they have a few different ones to choose from. And these are just templates that you have access to. So if I clicked on YouTube video, it's going to show me the almost 5,000 templates that they already have available for you to pick through and edit as you like. You can sort of, if you hover over them, you can get a glimpse as to what is in the video. And if you ever
we
want
have a quick question, Rachel.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, will part of this presentation include how to create a thumbnail in a video?
Yes,
okay,
it will.
Perfect.
That is a very important part of having videos online, is having thumbnails. So yes, we will. So on any of these, you can click on them and start editing them to your delight. We won't go deep dive into them, but just know that there are thousands of templates available for you to play around with. Now, sometimes it looked like for the most part, all of the templates are under video, but you can also find them under social media. You can find Instagram Reels and TikTok videos, LinkedIn video ads. So you can find them in a couple of different places. So if I click on TikTok videos, you'll notice that the orientation of the video changes because, of course, it's for TikTok, not for YouTube. So these are more portrait videos. And likely these templates are going to be even shorter videos because that's just the nature of the application. But just like with any of the other templates, you would just click on them and play around with the content, edit what you need to edit. They're all editable, which is nice. But this just gives you a place to start if you're not quite sure what you want your video to look like or what different features you want to play with, which is really cool. It's handy when you're just like, oh, I need a video, but I'm not quite sure where to start. So that's really nice that they have that. So I'm going to go back home and I'll just open it from here since it's right here on my recent designs. I just threw together a video to show you some very basic tools that they have. So right now, this is the video editor. And it looks very much like any of the other editors, whether you've opened up a social media graphic, a brochure template, any of that, it's going to look very similar in this editing feature. So in the middle, you have your canvas. It's where all of your content that you're putting together, that's where it is. And down here is where it gets a little bit different for video. So this is like a timeline. So I have my different clips all in a row, all on this timeline. And you can also see kind of down here, this is the audio track that I have with it. So
I have another question.
Yeah.
All right. So we have a question: which video template should be used for a regular video when you want to display to an audience?
Likely you'll want to use this landscape, like a YouTube video. I think they even had one that was just called video. Let me double check. Like if you were doing it in a presentation like this, you would likely want to go, template is where I want to go. you would likely want to go with a landscape video just because so the different aspect ratios, the different orientations is because they take up the most room in the application. So like in a presentation, you might want one that's landscape like this because when you open it, like we have in here, it's going to take up the most room on your screen. Same thing with a TikTok video that's more portrait. It's going to take up the most screen with the video because of the orientation of the app.
Thank you.
No problem. So yeah, this is your timeline. This is where you're going to add your different clips, whether they're video clips, you can have photos, graphics, you can really put a lot of stuff in here. But this is where you're going to put them in order of how you want them. And the good thing about, or the really cool thing about this is it's really easy to move them. If you're like, oh, I'm not really sure I want that one first, you can click and drag and move them really easy. It's really nice. And you can do the same thing for audio. You can be like, oh, I don't actually want it to start here. I want it to start at the second clip. You can click and drag and move that feature around, which is really nice. And let's see, a lot of the tools at the top are the same from any other editing. You have file where you can change the name of it. Just like with everything else on Canva, it does auto save throughout the process, but you can always go to file, save, just to make sure. Like it says all changes saved, so it keeps up with that. But you can always double check by hitting save again. And it just has different things here, like you can make a copy really easily, create new designs, anything like that. It's just all on that little file. And then over on the left-hand side, we have a few different things. So because we're in a video template that I started with, it actually shows other templates here in case you're still stuck. You have even more that you can play with, and it's just showing you for inspiration, and then you can also open them and edit them as well. And then under elements is where you go to look for content within Canva. Now, I will say, if you have a small business or you're trying to promote whatever a product is, or if you're trying to sell something or whatever, your own content is the best content. I understand that might not be feasible for everything. I get it. But if you owned like a coffee shop, showing people that are actually in your coffee shop, the space of your coffee shop, so people know what it looks like, know what it feels like. They can hear the sounds of the coffee shop, see the people that work there. That's going to be your best content, because then when people do show up, like, cool, I've already seen this, I like that. Or it's going to be what actually draws them in. And you can upload all of your own content that you want. So under elements is where you'll search Canva's library of materials. But under uploads is where you can upload files. So if you have video files on your computer, on your phone, cloud storage, wherever, you can upload files directly to Canva and use them. So that's very handy. You don't just have to use what Canva provides. It's just handy to have a little extra content in case you need it. You're like, oh, I could use footage of, since I mentioned a coffee shop, of someone pouring beans into an espresso machine. You wouldn't necessarily have to record it yourself if you can find it here in Canva. So knowing that this fake little company is called Sneak for sneakers, I just searched sneaker. And it gives me options for graphics, photo, video, audio, and I just clicked video. And so it gives me a bunch of different clips that have been tagged with sneaker or shoe or likely many other phrases. And when you hover over them, it'll give you a glimpse into what is in the clip. And you can even see how long the clip is, like this 7 seconds, 13 seconds, 15 seconds. And you can just keep scrolling through and seeing which ones you like. So I'm going to play this one real quick just so you can see what it looks like. So that was a very simple little, almost 30-second video. You can see up in the top right, it says 32.6 seconds. That's the total length of the video. And on each of the clips, it shows how long they are. So you saw originally this clip right here. Oh, there we go. I found it right here, and it's a 13 second long clip. I shortened it to 4 seconds, sorry. And you can do that really easily just by dragging the edge of it to its beginning and end. Like if I just click on, oh, it actually inserted it on top. That's not what I want. I can click and drag it onto the timeline where that plus sign is. If I drop it there, it's going to give me the clip. So it says it's only 12.5 seconds. Interesting. Anyway, you can drag the ends of it to where you want it to end. You're like, oh, I really just want to focus on the feet on the ground. That's where you can start. Or that's where you can stop it, start it, however you want to do it. And you can even move this little thing, this little line shows you where you're at in the video. And you're like, oh, I want it to start here. So you can do what I've already done, which is click and drag it to that line. You can also right click and do split page. So what it does there, like say if I wanted to cut that in half and then move one of these clips to a different section, but still have both, I could easily do that by doing that split page. And then I could just click and drag and move this to a different section if I needed that for whatever reason. Like if you recorded a really long video of people in your store using a product, you can easily split it into sections just by using that split page feature. And if you didn't want to keep this clip, it's already selected. I can just hit delete on my keyboard, or I can right click and hit delete. So those are ways you can edit it right here on the timeline. And since I already have this clip, I don't necessarily want it. That's how you can just easily drag a clip onto the timeline and make those quick little edits. Now, I mentioned earlier that some of the editing tools are a little different because this is video. So when I click on one of these clips here, there are a few things you can do right up here. These are some of the editing tools specifically for video. So when you click on playback, you can change the video speed. Like if I wanted it to be slower or faster, that would be the main one I would use here. There are some different presentation modes that I haven't really used, but those are just different options you can play with. There are some animations you can use, which you won't necessarily use for video clips themselves, but you can. I used it more for the text in this video, but you can just play around. It's mostly like how they would enter in on the screen and how they would exit. Like it would be in between clips. I haven't used that for much in video, but I have for text, which is actually what I used here. In a second, I'll show you. So you can also, especially if you've recorded your own video, more tools actually came up, good. If you've recorded your own video and you don't actually want the sound of the video recording because you have music playing instead, that's what this volume clip is for. You can mute the video clip. That doesn't mute the audio that I have on this timeline. That only mutes any audio that's on this video clip. That's very important. You can also crop the video using this little feature up here. It gives you a little bit better view of the different frames, which is nice. But you can do it in the timeline. You could do it up here. There's kind of a couple of ways to edit, which is nice. You can also click edit video, and there's a couple of filters that you can play with. There's not a lot that you can do here, but you'll see more Like if you're using photos, there'll be a bit more editing tools for that in particular. But for video, it's there aren't as many, but that's okay. So I don't know if you noticed, but I'm gonna play this again. If you watch the text, see how it kind of came in? And on the next one, it did something a little different. And then it did something a little different. Well, those are different animation tools. So if I click back onto this clip and I select this text, which I added this text by going over, and this is going to be the same for whether you're doing a social media post, a document, a presentation. There's going to be this little text tool right here, and you can add a text box that's blank. Because I have my brand kit put together, I just went to this one that says add a heading, because that's what I have it going to. And when I click it, it adds a text box in the font that I have chosen. If you want to change the font, you can just go up to the font tools that show up when you have selected that text field, and you can change the font from here. You can change the size of it, the color of it, all of that. All of those tools exist already. Nope, I don't actually want to play it. Good. Okay, so I'm gonna delete that because I don't need it. But when you select your text that you already have on the screen, if you have text, which I will say for if you do have anyone speaking, captions are, a lot of apps already will do auto captioning, but if you want to do your own to make sure that the captions are correct, I would definitely add captions, which would just be text boxes on each of the clips. Some people don't want to listen to the audio of a video because maybe they're watching the video in a common space with other people, but it's also an accommodation for people who maybe can't hear to be able to read it instead. So text is your friend. But when you select the text, there are different tools, of course, like we just talked about, like you can change the font, change the size, change the color, but you can also put an effect on them. Like maybe you need maybe some background, you want it to pop off the screen a little bit more so it's a bit more legible. You can add a shadow, you can add all sorts of different, so that just makes it pop a little bit more. It's a bit more legible, and you can change any of these little tools. So these are just different effects that you can play with. But the animation part, normally it would say animate right here, but because there's already an animation, it says what the animation is. So normally it says animate, you would click on it and it brings up these different animations. So right now I have pan, which it kind of shows you it's going to the side. But then if you hover over different animations, it'll show you what your text will look like if you chose it. I haven't clicked on any of these. I'm just hovering over them with my mouse. You can see how they look a little bit different. And I tried to choose ones that sort of matched the feel of the video clip in front of it. So that's what I did with that one. You don't have to use any animations for your text at all. This is just a fun tool that they have that can be handy when you want to use it. And when you do select an animation, you can choose if it animates both at the beginning and end of a clip. So right now it says both, but you can choose either when it enters or when it moves on to the next clip. You can change the speed and you can change the direction, which is nice. And on some of them, it'll even have an up and down direction, just depending on what the animation does, which is kind of cool. So that's how, so that one says it's pan. And on this one, it's skate, which is down here. So you saw it kind of bounce in when we were playing with it. I thought it went well with that little slide of the foot. And then the same thing on this one. I used bounce because I thought that went well with jump. So these are just fun little tools that you can, and like on this one, so a lot of them had the different direction, but this one has on where it's animating. So is it by character or is it the whole word? Which the whole word might make more sense than the individual characters in terms of like their jumping rope. So that's a cool way you can edit your text. And of course, you can click and drag it around, move it anywhere pretty much on your video. And you'll notice when you do move it around, these purple bounding boxes come up. And that is mostly to show you that this is a really safe area to have your content, that it will definitely show up no matter the device someone's using. So it's nice to stay within that bounding box just in case. Most applications, you'll still be able to see the edges, but think of it like margins in a Word document. Sometimes when you print, and if it was outside the margins, it might not print, it might scale it differently. So it's good just to stay safe inside that margin. And speaking of margins, I want to view. So under File, you can go View Settings, and you can show rulers and guides. So if you're wanting something to be in the exact same place on, like maybe I wanted to add some text somewhere else and I want it to line up, you have these rulers that you have on the side and the top. This is a somewhat newer feature on Canva, which is really nice because you do have it in different Adobe products, which is really helpful. But you can click and drag from the ruler and get a guide to pop up. And you can do it from the side and you can do it from the top. So if you're really wanting something to line up, because sometimes it will line up with it, like this text box, you can see the purple box around it, that's its bounding box. And right now that guide is snapped up against the top of the bounding box. But if I wanted something to actually line up with the text, I could move that guide and then choose to have something line up against it there instead of the other box that showed up. So they can just be handy. The good thing is those guides don't actually appear when you download or print or anything like that. They just exist in this editor for you to use as a viewing tool. It won't actually be there when you download it. And if you want to get rid of it, you can click and drag it off the canvas and it's gone. But that's just really handy if you're trying to get stuff to line up. Let's see. And again, if you had uploaded anything, you could go to your uploads. Most of these are photos for projects that we're working on. I'm not sure I have very many. Because I'm under images. So when you're on uploads, it does separate from images to video to audio, which is nice. So if I look under video, I can see, oh, okay, I took some footage over at Schimmelfinnig at our summer kickoff. I can under the elements, I can just click and drag it onto the timeline. So this is an example of a video that has audio already. And I mentioned earlier that if you wanted to get rid of that audio because you would rather just have music playing over it, since I've selected this video, I can go to that volume tool up here and I can mute it. So now when I play the video, it's silent. So there's different applications for it. It's just handy if you're just playing music over it, or maybe you're doing a voiceover, whatever the case may be. It's really handy. And then since I don't actually want that, I'm gonna delete it. Now we have added audio to this. So there is an audio tool on the left-hand side. So I'm gonna click on it. So Canva just has a bunch of different audio and they have it kind of separated into different, genres, themes. And you can see under each one, it'll even list a few of its themes, like a film song, electronica and dance, calm, acoustic. So there's just different ones to play with. And like I've mentioned before, you can go down a rabbit hole easily, like when choosing a font, choosing a color, you can do the same with audio. You can also upload your own audio. Like if you were doing a voiceover, or you have your own music that you have access to. YouTube actually has a library of music that you can use as well if you're uploading videos to YouTube that you can download and then you could upload them into Canva. Though I've also seen some of the same audio on YouTube that's here on Canva. They even have like a YouTube section. So you would just click see all and you can see what audio they have. You can also search audio, like if there was maybe a vibe you were going for, or you're trying to find, I don't know, something specific, some specific sound. I think I typed in coffee once. And so like, here's a sound that they have for coffee brewing. So it sounds like a coffee machine that's brewing. So they not only have music, they also have some sound effects as well, which is kind of cool, just depending on what you're looking for. But you can also, you know, in some of these other themes, like I just did with the YouTube one, you can hit see all and you can just hit play, see what it sounds like. Do I like it? Do I not like it? Jump to the next one. And so I already have one on here. And I don't know why it makes it difficult to see, but it's down here. So when I click on it, I can see it a little bit better. You can also toggle the size of both the canvas and when I clicked on this little thumbnail here, you can change the size. So if you have a bunch of files, it might be nice if it's a smaller size so you can see more at once, or if you'd like to get closer, that's up to you. So like with adding video, adding images, you can click and drag. You can also just click on a song and it adds it down here. It looks weird. You can't really tell that it's there, but sorry, I have the most trouble with this every single time. I don't know why it does this, but if I get closer, I can actually edit it. There we go. So I can click and drag to where I want the audio. So if you had multiple songs or sound effects or voiceovers, whatever you're doing, you can add different layers. That's up to you. And I believe you should be able to split it. Yes. So just like you were able to split videos into parts, you can do the exact same thing with audio. So if I wanted to split that there, I wanted to put something else in this place. I guess that's the beginning of the audio. You can click and drag it. And then I can move this one maybe to the next clip, wherever I want it. So there's a lot of things that you can move around. I tend to find Canva audio on its own to be kind of loud. Like however they've uploaded it, it can be loud, just in my opinion. It's up to you whether you want to edit the sound of or the volume of audio, but you can. So like you can in a video clip, when you've selected the audio on the timeline, up here at the top, you have a few different tools that you can use, but one is this little speaker, this little volume. You can, of course, mute it if you really want to, but you can also just change the volume. It's at 100 right now. You can put it at 50. And you'll notice if you look at the audio wave file down there, as I change the volume, it gets louder versus less loud. You definitely don't want it. You don't want to blow out people's eardrums. And it just doesn't sound good if it's too loud. So you can always edit the volume of the audio, which is nice.
All right, we have another question.
Yeah.
So it is, how do you add a voiceover and does the music for the video automatically go to the next line after the video?
So to add a voiceover, that would be in your upload. So you would record your voiceover And it looks like there's a record yourself option, and I've never clicked on it. So, okay. So when you record yourself, it's actually your camera. So that doesn't do audio. Oh, it does do audio. There is a microphone feature. Sorry, let me get out of this. I just haven't never clicked that button before. So there are options within Canva, which is nice. Of course, otherwise you would record on your phone, on your computer, whatever other device you want to record on, and then you would upload it. Sorry, let me go back to that. And then I think it kind of showed it when I uploaded a second audio clip. Get back down here. It created a second line once I added a second audio clip. So it's going to do that automatically. Because I thought I would be able to put it at the end, but it just automatically made a second line. And that might just be because there's no more, there aren't any more video clips after this. So that might be why it did that, because it thought I might want to layer it. But you can click and drag. You should be able to click and drag and move it. I guess I can't put it in line. It's weird. Oh, it does it automatically, actually. So as long as they're not overlapping, it makes it one line. If they are overlapping, it makes it two lines. And it did it automatically. I didn't do anything to make that happen. But yeah, for your own voiceovers, that would be recording on your own device, whether it's your phone, your computer, maybe it's for a podcast or something. And then you would upload the MP3 file, or I think it does WAV files too. But when you upload it, it'll then be under this audio section. And then you could click on it and it adds it automatically, again, as a second line. I hope that answered the question. So one of the other audio editing features, I'm going to click on this, is audio effects. So when you click on the audio, of course, and then go to audio effects, it has a fade in and fade out. So it might be that you have, you just want it to ease into the music or the recording, whatever it is, and then you want it to softly fade out at the end. That could be kind of nice that it's not just like abrupt. So that's what the fade in and fade out are. And as far as I can tell, it only goes to 2 seconds. Yeah. So if you're wanting it to fade in and fade out, you can change both of them. You can change one. You don't have to have it fade in or fade out. That's completely up to you. So they can be both 0. That's your choice and what it sounds like. And right now, this is probably going to sound a little bit weird just because it's going from one song to another and back.
So Rachel, we can't hear the audio.
Oh, you can't hear the audio. That's sad. That's probably a Zoom. Oh yeah, because it's pulling all the sound from my microphone, not from the device. Well, just know it does sound weird because of whatever song I chose. I just clicked one. Sorry, but I didn't even think that would be a thing. But yeah, it would fade in and fade out. It just has a lower volume and then gets up to its actual volume. And then when it fades out, it goes from its actual volume and then goes lower until the video ends for those 2 seconds. So saying this is my whole clip here, I'm not going to edit it any further. But I will say I did put the fake businesses logo on each of the clips. That way people knew while they were watching it what business it was referring to. That's up to you how you want to do that. We'll also include it on the thumbnail, which I'll move on to once I show you how to download your video. So this is just like with everything on Canva, it's under share with this little arrow in the top right corner. You click on it. You then want to go to download. So you want to download your video as an MP4. That's the file type for videos, and pretty much any application is going to want a video in an MP4. And even Canva even suggests it, but it's up to you. I mean, I don't think there's really any other option here that would be video. No. So yeah, MP4 is really the only option you're going to have. And then you have quality. So 1080p, that is a resolution that you'll see in a lot of places, especially on YouTube, Facebook, all of that. It's pretty standard high definition video streaming quality. You can go up with it does have 4K, like if you're wanting to make sure this can be seen on large TVs or large screens. Just know that your file will also be pretty large at that point. But that's just another one of those, if you have it up on a large TV, you might want it in 4K just because that's how TVs are right now. But 1080p is just fine. So I want to make sure that it is selecting all of my clips. So it says all pages 1 through 7, and pages is referring to each of these clips here as a page. They are all checked. A little check mark next to them. So that means they're good. And then I hit download. And it might take a minute, depending on how big your video is, the quality of the content inside of it, like the size of the files themselves. So it may take a minute to download. And then you would just save it wherever you're normally saving files on your desktop. If you have a shared drive, if you need to download it to your desktop and then move it to cloud storage, those are all ways that you can save it to wherever you need it. It's nice to use cloud storage if you're wanting to go from, okay, I've made this on my desktop, but I actually need to upload it from my phone, because then you could open your cloud storage on your phone, download it, upload it to whatever application you need to upload it to. Because I know some places like Instagram and TikTok and all of that, they're not necessarily meant for a desktop application, but through your phone. So it just depends. I'm not going to let this finish downloading because it's going to take forever. And I want to be respectful of everyone's time. But say this is the completed video and we've just downloaded it. Cool. Now I want to make a thumbnail. So going back to our main screen, I think I saw it under templates, video. Maybe it's under social media. I saw it somewhere. Well, there was an arrow there earlier. If you don't see it under templates, you can also, I'm searching YouTube. And so they have different, looks like most of these are thumbnails. Yes, you can see the word thumb showing up in a lot of the titles here. So these are examples of YouTube thumbnails. I can also go to create a design and I can search YouTube. And it gives me a bunch of different options here, but I'm going to go straight to YouTube thumbnail, which gives me the size that YouTube wants their thumbnails to be. So when I click on it, it's going to, again, open up that canvas that we can edit. And the main thing about thumbnails is that you want them to be somewhat consistent with your brand, or maybe if it's a series, you want it to be noticeable that it is a series, which is nice for people to be able to be like, oh, okay, yeah, I know that's the next one in the series, or I know those are related because of how it looks. So because I opened up specifically that YouTube thumbnail, under the design tab here, it's going to show a bunch of different templates, which is nice if you're not quite sure what you want it to look like. You're not sure what the vibe or the feel, or maybe there's certain fonts that you like about one of these templates. You have access to those, which is really nice. I'm going to go back under elements though and look at sneaker, but instead of a video this time, I'm going to look at photos. So because that one was just a very generic video about sneakers, I can pretty much use anything I want, but because this is a landscape image, it is longer left to right than it is up and down. I really want to use a photo that's going to fit best in that application. Because to give an example here, I'm going to click and drag this onto this canvas, and it fits really nicely, fits across the whole thing. If I add a page and try one of these more portrait ones, it's going to zoom in to fit across, which in reality, the one I chose actually looks fine. But sometimes they won't come out looking as well, or maybe like here, this one will be a good example. It cuts off at the top and the bottom because that photo is not really meant for this application. So that's just something to think about when you're choosing your thumbnail photo. Oh, if I was deleting that page. Doop, there we go. So I could stick with this one. I could scroll forever and find other photos. You do want it to be somewhat eye-catching because you want people to be like, ooh, what's that about? So this is bright and yellow. That could be interesting. I can go to my brand hub and add my logo, which I can just make it a different size if I want. And again, it's going to have that bounding box around the edges. So you know sort of where a safe space is on here. One thing you do want to think about ahead of time in terms of placement of things is, and that includes the video as well. Sometimes, not necessarily on YouTube where you would use this format of video, but places like TikTok and Instagram Reels on the like say your phone, you're in Instagram looking at Reels. At the bottom of the reel, you'll have like the profile photo and name with a caption. You have some icons on the side that are all overlaid on the video, just in the application. So if you're wanting people to see something in particular or read a caption that you have on there, you want to make sure you think about that placement ahead of time. And it's the same for even the thumbnail. It might be that when it's up on the screen, maybe there's natively in the app that you're putting it in. Maybe Instagram puts something always in the bottom corner, the bottom left corner. Then you don't necessarily want anything on the bottom left corner. So just take a minute to look through applications before you create content like this, because you'll want to make sure that whatever you write, whatever caption you have, whatever graphic is there is visible. You don't want your work to go to waste because people can't see it. I see that all the time on videos where people have added captions, and the caption that's inherently in the app or buttons on the side to like and follow cover it up. And then you can't read the caption or you can't see whatever detail they're trying to get you to see. So definitely think about that ahead of time. So this can be my basic thumbnail. If you want to add text, you can, especially if, is there our top 5 sneakers of the month or anything that might grab someone's attention. That's up to you if you want to add text or not. Plenty of people do, plenty of people don't. That's up to you and how you want to do it. And you can always change your thumbnail. Whatever you use now doesn't have to be what you use always. But you can just go to that text editor like we did in the video itself, add a text box, you can put text on here. Now, when you want to download it, you're going to do the exact same thing. You go to share, you go to download, and I know for sure on YouTube, it requires a JPEG. So under the file type, it's that JPG. That I know for sure is what YouTube requires. It wouldn't surprise me if all of them are the same. I generally save my thumbnails as JPEGs just to make sure. Since that's what YouTube requires, it wouldn't surprise me if that's what others require for the thumbnail itself. Now, you don't necessarily have to create your own thumbnails. A lot of the applications will give you suggestions based on your video when you upload it. When you upload to YouTube on the back end, the same for Instagram, same for Facebook and everywhere else, it says, would you like to upload a thumbnail or use these suggestions? And it has pulled frames from your video. So up to you which one you want to use. It works both ways. But if you were looking to have a specific look, or if you're wanting the text on here, that you would have to do yourself. So JPEG, this size is just fine because most people are going to view it on their phone, maybe even a laptop, but the size is fine as is. And then you can change the quality, which makes the file size even bigger, the higher the quality. And then you would just hit download. And this one won't take as long to download as a video would, because it's just a simple image. And you would just save your file wherever you save your files. And that's it. So you have a video and you have a thumbnail, and you're ready to upload it somewhere, whatever application that you plan on using. Are there any questions about any of that? I mean, I know we've already answered a few, but are there any more on that? Otherwise, I'll show you some additional resources that the library has that you have access to. All right, let me show you. So Plano Public Library has a lot of online resources that can help you work on these skills more than just this class. We have LinkedIn Learning and Udemy are two online professional and personal development tools. There's thousands and thousands of courses that you have access to, some specifically on Canva, some just on video. There's also stuff on social media, business, marketing, all sorts of other topics. And of course, with Canva, they have their own educational webinars you can watch. And of course, YouTube is a vast resource in itself that you can just search particular questions you have. And you can just type in Canva video and you'll find a bunch of videos about Canva video. So, and the link on the screen goes to all of our online databases. You can also just scan that QR code. And you do need a Plano Public Library card to access LinkedIn Learning and Udemy. Just know that, but great resource. So like I said, you can easily just search on YouTube to find other great content from Canva themselves and other creators that use Canva. We also have a class coming up. We have a monthly networking session for small businesses, startups, called Team Up for Entrepreneurial Success, or TWOS. And so it's coming up this Tuesday, July 25th. It's at Haggard Library. And we have SCORE Dallas mentors. They're a free service that we offer. They're business mentors. And you can meet with them separately. But for this class in particular, they're going to be talking about brand development. So if you're still thinking about what your logo is, what are all the things that you need to build your brand, this is definitely the one to come to. They are the experts in this field. They have been in business forever. Some of them have been higher ups in businesses, and they're here volunteering to share their knowledge. And this is a good networking opportunity as well to meet others who are just like you, starting a business, even just thinking about starting a business. So that QR code takes you to the registration, or you can just go to the library's calendar and find it on there as well. And that's where you can find more information about the SCORE mentors as well. So if there aren't any other questions, we do again have all of our recordings on our YouTube channel. Feel free to subscribe if you want notifications of when videos go up. We have a handful of classes, if not every week, definitely every month across a bunch of different topics. But business and technology are some of our highly recorded ones. So they are there and available for you to watch whenever you want. They're there pretty much forever. So we have ones that are specifically about business, Canva, Adobe. We have a bunch. So definitely take a look and keep learning. And if there aren't any other questions, that's all I got. All right. Well, I hope everyone learned something new, and hope to see you all in the next class where we'll talk about print marketing. And I'll see you then.